Good morning, evening, afternoon, Moss here. Hope you are doing well. It's a beautiful day here in Minneapolis. Quite gorgeous, actually. Quite sunny. It's been kind of hot, huh? Throughout the whole, U.S. A lot of weather changes, as I predicted a few years back. A lot of changes coming up, not only for humanity but for the world, for the universe. You can see that there's strange weather patterns on other planets as well. And the reason is that the universe is changing, and people go, well, what's changing? And people go, well, it's climate change. We got to do this and that. And guys, time and space, this matrix, the way it creates itself, the way how time and space defines everything here, it's becoming more efficient. It's always has. And this time it's a huge wave. And that's what's happening. And as these waves wash through, I call them the purity wave because it creates more efficiency, it creates more abundance for everybody and all. Okay. And it's quite beautiful. And before I get into the subject, what happens when you die? I just want to. This is what I'm picking up on all of us here today as the world again transforms. It's not a death space. It's not the end of the world. It's a new beginning for many. Because there's been so much suffering, and back in the day, you know. And here's the key on how you can tell that consciousness is arising or being forced to say awaken or get to the next level. Okay? Is that there's been a lot of suffering. There's probably been more suffering back in the day. People in enslavement camps, and well, you go, well, there's people like that now. Yes, there are. Hundreds and hundred millions, dying because of wars. And it's like, well, that's happening now. Not as much, but yes, happening now, especially in Afghanistan. Again, we're kind of recreating that. By the way, we are going to do a special 9/11. It's a free world meditation on bringing or stopping those types of patterns. It's almost going to be well, I'll explain that in a little bit. But well, child abuse, yes, women abuse, cultural abuse, all those ethnic abuse, all those patterns have been happening way back, way, way, way back. It's like, why is it so important now? Because now we're more awakened. Before we were numb to it. Before, we used it as social status. Like the French Revolution. Literally, the French Revolution was about, hey, you guys went too far, putting your, say, ethics or command on, the masses, right? Um, so again, all those types of abuse, it hasn't doesn't mean that it's gotten worse. It actually means that we're more awakened and we're seeing. It's like, holy fuck, what have we done? What have we done as humans? Animals don't even, treat other animals like that, right? It's more humane, so to speak. So those type of patterns or situations, we're coming up to a deep realization. In today's world, more and more, say, more and more companies are coming out, or more and more companies are being exposed by, right, on how they treat their employees. So again, all those factors, or how women's movement and all that, all those factors are, or all those, say, signs or symptoms are because we are awakening to a level. Unfortunately, what's happening is that we are trying to rectify those problems with the old solutions. And as Einstein put it, you can't solve a problem with the old solutions. You can't solve a problem from the same, I say, consciousness of you can't find a solution from the same consciousness of the problem, and that's what's happening, right? So we do demonstrations, we pass laws, we do whatever, we create new inventions, to stop, the pollution and everything else. And where are we? We're still in the same. We're still in the same boat. Why is that? It's not the solutions. It's not what you're doing or anything like that. It's just that we're doing it in the wrong consciousness. And I explain this. And if you go to the Moss Experience on the Best You TV, which is on Roku, and it's got its own app, the Best You TV. A lot of great information there for you, by the way. It tells you how consciousness works and what you can do. What you can do is your part to elevate the consciousness. Everybody wants to elevate consciousness, but again, over the years, what's happened? This consciousness, we're elevated. Consciousness is elevated. It's going whether you're here or not. Are you going to be on that elevator into that new consciousness? That's the key. You don't have to elevate consciousness, by the way. It's happening already, whether you like it or not. Humanity, unfortunately, the human species, we're staying down here. We're not getting that escalator up. So we're here. Nature, time and space, universal consciousness is up here. And then there's that great divide. And then, as Ray Kurzweil puts it, you get it. He doesn't understand the whole concept, but basically he talks about technological singularity. That's that great divide. Consciousness and all the technology that you hear is a result of consciousness opening up, giving you better possibilities. That's why inventions today, they weren't around back in the 50s. It's not because somebody didn't think of it. Those things weren't possible back then. Nobody could access, say, those inventions or concepts because the consciousness didn't allow it for anybody to access it. It wasn't in this. It wasn't, say, in this space. So we're always elevating. The key is, again, if you want to help people, is jump on that escalator or elevator and get going. And that's what XI is about, by the way. It's the fastest way to transform not only your life, but humanity. So one of the biggest, I guess, ill definitions is on the science of death. By the way, next week, we're going to do the relationship between science and religion. Okay. But this week, what happens when you die? There's a lot of misinformation on what happens when you die, and it's like, well, what is my credentials, right? Because there's scientists that have been studying death, that have been studying, the morgue. They've been, testing bodies, corpses, and all that. They should know more than I do, in a lot of subjects as well. Well, maybe not. The key or the gift that I have from my 2 near-death experiences is I have future vision. I have the ability for future vision. I can tell you what's going on in the future, which is more factual than, say, facts. So, when scientists go, well, we've gathered all the facts and we assume this because the facts are telling us this. Okay. There's a lot of mistakes that can happen there because there's a shitload of variables. There's a ton of variables that are unbeknownst to the scientists that they don't even know should exist. They don't even know the factors on what's happening, right? According to the facts that they have, right? Again, there's a ton of variables that dictate how this reality works that most people don't know about. That's what exponential intelligence, the body of knowledge that I tap into, is all about. Think of it this way: if you're that scientist or a religious person, doesn't matter. You've got Newtonian physics, right? It tells you how all the big stuff works, the physics of how, the big particles or the big stuff in this reality work. And then they couldn't figure out why some of those bigger objects didn't work the way they should in this reality. And then somebody came out with a quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and it's like, oh, so quantum, the realm, the smaller, tinier particles that dictate how the bigger particles work. And then it opened up a whole new field out there. And it's quite amazing, right? And this is where a lot of technological advances happen. And now our scientists are perplexed because as they get into the quantum field, there's particles and so on that behave very differently. Like Einstein said, even back in his day, he said, spooky action from afar. He couldn't figure it out. A lot of physicists can't figure that stuff out. Well, I live in that realm. Okay? Not that I'm a scientist, not that I'm I researched all this stuff, although I've done a ton of research over a decade, over 100,000 individuals, one-on-one client sessions. That's how impactful and that's how fast I can transform people. You don't need decades of therapy to transform your life or this world, by the way. If we wake up like I wake you up really fast, we can transform in just maybe a year or two. So anyway, now quantum physicists are going, shit, why doesn't this stuff work? What are the hangups and some of the holes uh, in say some of the physics theories, like gravity and some of the other physics theories that control this earth and control us, control your physical action here, because we have to go beyond that. And that's where I would call it pure physics. We haven't gotten there, but again, that's the realm that I play in. And if you can get to that level, and I do bring people to that level, if you can bring people, or bring scientists, or bring uh and anybody can join as long as you awaken, because it's all innately in us, by the way. You'd have a wonderful, beautiful playground to play here in this reality. So that's what it's all about. And then we can get rid of all this bullshit that's happening over and over and over and over again. All right. So, what happens when you die? I would say that I'd be the leading authority on death, and a lot of other things that explain this construct here, this matrix. Why? Well, because my methods, it's not just theory. It's not just like, it doesn't work just in a science experiment where all the variables have to be, say, perfect to duplicate that experiment. No, I work at the top level. There's no exceptions to the rules, or there's no exceptions to the laws, that I talk about. Like even whatever the most solid law that science thinks about. Again, this is where, and I'm not knocking science down. Again, great advances, but we got to get to that next level. This is where a lot of scientists go, well, shit, this is actually true. This is the most truest possible statement, and then a year later, or even a decade later, they go, we really fucked up. It's totally wrong, because better instrumentation, better knowledge, better understanding of whatever, and then they go, wow, that wasn't it, and they go to the deeper understanding, and deeper and deeper. Well, you'd want to get to the first principle, and that's where I go to the first principle, and that's why your life radically changes. For those who are on the call here, comment in on how fast your life has changed through the process of XI. So what happens when you do die? I did do a podcast on it, on the science of death. By the way, you might want to visit that and understand it, because if you understand the science of death, you understand the science of life. It's highly important. So in this brief Mass on Sunday, I'll tell you what happens when you die. The real answer to the heaven and hell question: is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Because I've been there. And then the most important thing you can do now to prepare for it. By the way, the younger you are to start, because most people go, well, when I retire, when I do all the things, I'm going to focus in on my death. That's not what you want to do, because you'll never live. You're going to waste your whole freaking life. Again, you're going to waste your whole life trying to live afterwards. And whatever that you're doing, experiencing now, again, people become super successful. When they get older, they become whatever. They're not happy. Why? Because they didn't understand how to die properly. Right? So death is actually, you should learn about it, or parents should teach death. But again, parents don't do what they should do, unfortunately, which is another subject. But kids should know about death, basically, because if you know about death, kids, you will have the most fantastic life here possible, because you'll be living to the limits. Right? It's just think of it this way: if you don't know what your potential is, and most people don't. People think, well, I'll just make a shitload of money, or I'll do this and I'll go adventure in this. But they're not living, they're not experiencing it, again, from their higher state of being. That's why it never fulfills. It's never complete. Right? You ask anybody that gets older and older. I haven't met a lot of people like, oh, yeah, that was really a fulfilling life. There's always tragedies. There's always pain. There's always, and again, that's not a necessity. People, just because so many people have experienced it doesn't mean that it's real, right? Or it should be it's the norm. It's not. How you age, again, it's the science of death. How you get ill, understanding death, again, you'd stay away from all those things. This virus crap that's going around, again, society, humanity would stay away from it. Government controls, or your control, or your weaknesses, insecurities, abuse patterns, all those things. Again, if you understand, literally live from that space of death, you would not have those problems. Humanity would not have those problems here. If you don't believe me, look at nature. It's always on the verge of that death space. Hence, it's always vibrant. Right? I'm not saying you go there, and so I'm going to define the verge of that death space in just a bit, and we'll even go through what I call a hypermeditation that can help you understand the process of death, so you can live an optimal life. All right, so this is an experiential show, so let's take a deep breath in. And a lot of good questions, by the way. So what happens when you die? It's really easy. Super efficient, super easy. So people think, well, you go, you die, and some of the theories, you're going to go meet your maker, you're going to go see angels, you're going to go see whatever, and you're going to sit across a pearly gate, and then you're going to be judged. No, that's all bullshit. Do you go somewhere else? Yeah, you could do. You transcend somewhere. Where's your? It's, and then people go, well, what about my spirit and all that stuff, or your essence? It's not like you connect to your spirit after you die. Your spirit is rendering this reality here, right? So that's one thing we have to understand. This body, this physical form, your experiences here in this matrix does not exist. It's a reflection of your spirit. Your spirit is never, it's not time based, so it never dies. Okay? So it's like, well, what happened then when you die then? Right. And people, and no matter what religion says, again, because those religions, there's a lot of holes in it. I'm not knocking down your religion, but again, there's a lot of questions unanswered on what they say on when you die. Okay. So what happens when you die in this space is that, think it, yeah. So think of it this way, and I'll make it very, very simple. Your light, okay? You want to call it your spirit, that's totally fine. I would not use that because it's so distorted, okay? Your timeless self, your timeless being, okay? That is timeless, spaceless. So again, full potential, 100% potential. All the possibilities that you can do, you have access to. Okay, that's your light. So all the possibilities that you could be, again, you are within, and you're reflecting all your possibilities or your light, okay, or your probabilities onto a screen. Okay, so you've got several screens that create you. Okay, so all your possibilities here, again, you can't possibly do all those things in a physical identity just because of space and time, right? Because space and time, you'd have to do it one thing at a time. I mean, you couldn't do, thousands and thousands of things at the same time. You simply couldn't. At a spirit level, you could. So how does that happen? So how can you just say be, filtered out to say one possibility for you? Okay. Well, you use filters. So you use a filter, and you keep filtering yourself. And then this reality is the last filter for you. This reality, say, is the screen that you render or you create your identity. So the limited identity that you are, that you think you are, with your pain, with your abuse, with all that bullshit, is rendered on the screen of time and space here. Right? It's the densest realm, and that's why it casts itself on here, and it creates a reality, just like like a hologram. Okay, or again, a screen, or a TV screen, or a movie screen, whatever it is. Again, this reality that you see, this plane called Earth, is the densest form. And this is the image, or this is the screen that people say define who they are. So you have all these filters, again, all possibilities. And then, for example, some of the filters would be, well, I'm human. So you define your body as human form, and then you're a male or female. Okay, that's another filter that you have. You would define yourself as, say a female, a 30-year-old female. That's a filter because age is a filter. You define yourself as, a female who've been been, had a fantastic family, or, fantastic, journey to, in her 30s, or you'd be somebody, say a female that was abused, and all that, and all those experiences. Again, all those experiences that you've had literally are filters. I talk more and more about this, through the lecture series, and again, the podcast on how filters are created, by the way. So the last filter that you do, that you have, is an experience here. So what happens when you die? Well, basically, your light stops shining in this reality. Simple as that. There's all these filters, like I said. So we'll just pick the last two. Your light is here. Okay, your light is here. The earth plane is here, which you're casting a shadow on, right? Casting your image on a 3D reality. What happens when you die? You just go to the next filter. For most people, that's all you do. You don't cast your essence here. You cast your essence here. So you remove the filter of physical form here. Simple as that. So what does that mean? Basically, when I see people dying, okay, or when I see people, because over the decades, I've had, I don't know how many lives I've helped cross over properly, and then how many lives I helped on the other side, and probably over 100,000. Um, so let's take a deep breath in. So what does that mean? Okay? Basically, what that means, right? And the way people die, this is the number one reason why we have the issues that we do, because it's just a blanket that again, destroys life here, and that's why it's so important to understand about death when you're young, so you don't stay here. So you have all these layers, right? You have all these layers. The last layer is your physical, say, experience here on Earth. You die. You don't represent yourself here, right? You represent yourself into the next layer, the next filter. You just remove that filter. So what that means is whatever that you did, right, you just do on the other side without a body. It just turns into a dream state for most people. So people who are in hospice, people who are ill, people who are whatever, a lot of times, most of those people, they don't realize that they're dead. They just transition into that next level. Their body starts to decay. And the reason why decay happens is that, again, the light of who you are, your energy source, does not, they create, well, that connection. There's no more connection. So that body, again, has to, say, decay or disappear. Simple as that. Right? That's how decay works, by the way. There's no energy, there's no light coming through into this reality. So what that means is that whatever that you're doing goes to the next level, and as you go to the next level, that filter gets created in the filter for other people. So that's why there's a burden of death over this space. Okay? People who die unknowingly, car accidents, or I don't know, they get into, or people who, for example, commit suicide. What happens is that last moment of time, okay, that last moment of life that they have, what happens is that they carry that identity into that next filter. So since there is no time and space there, and that's why they can't create themselves here, okay? That's why they can't render themselves. So they get stuck into that next layer, and then the last moment gets reproduced over and over and over again. It's like forever. And I can tell you stories upon stories. Some of you obviously can feel death, right? Some of you can feel and experience death. So very few people, when they die, they don't go to heaven, they don't go to hell. They just transition into that next layer or that next filter of existence. That's it. Okay. So what about heaven and what about hell? Well, simple. Hell, again, is there a hell that that you get sent to because you did bad things, or you didn't, I don't know, go to church or the mosque or whatever the hell. Maybe I shouldn't put those words all together. Anyway, just kidding. What happens there? Is there a hell? Well, think of it this way. If you commit suicide, for example, you're going to be stuck in hell, because the last few moments of your existence, you're going to live that throughout your whole life, till not your whole life, till eternity, until something or someone, say like me, knocks you out of there and wakes you up. Okay. So what about doing bad things and good things and all that stuff? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter one bit. And you go, oh, that's the basis of all religion, and that's the basis of our society. How can Moss say that? Well, it's fucking true, because I see super good people, super religious people, and they're still, no offense, but there's a certain religion, that you're born in sin, you live in sin, you die in sin. Those individuals, they don't cross over. They're too fucking scared to meet their maker. All that shit they believe in, they go, hell no, I'm not going there. And they stay at the lower realms of, say, consciousness, or that lower realms of the filters. It's really, really sad. And how do I know? Because I've helped tons and tons of people like that cross over properly, no matter what they did here. I don't go, well, shit, you really abused all these people, and then you have to pay for that stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because this reality, again, is just about filters. It's not real. The only thing that's real is your pure presence of pure possibilities at this level. Everything else, again, are filters, or if you want to call them dream states. They're really not dream states. They're all the possibilities that you filtered out. Okay? So that's why there is no heaven, there's no punishment or anything. And that's why many religions, they tell you, right, and people don't understand it, what the actual definition is, but many religions tell you, even at the last moment of death, if you awaken, and their awakening is like if you embrace the religion, which is not true, right? If you embrace the concepts of the religion, then you'll be forgiven. No, 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 no. It's not about the religion. It's not going, well, shit, I fucked up all these times, I'm going to embrace religion. And no, you didn't wake up, by the way. And that's why, again, death is so important to understand when you're young, right? So what usually happens there, what the meaning of that, and I think it's in all the bigger religions, the Abrahamic religions, and even science, by the way. And I'll talk about the science side in just a second. So in those concepts, that's not what they're talking about. What they're talking about is if you awaken, and awakening is to the point that if you go, shit, this reality was just a construct of the filters that I created. My real potential is over here, my purest possible self, okay, which is limitless and then pure. If you awaken to go, oh shit, all these filters aren't me, then you are forgiven. Okay. God doesn't forgive you, by the way. God never blamed you. Just God created all the possibilities that you could do, and then you created those possibilities. So again, there's no heaven, there's no hell. But is there a heaven? Yes, it'll feel like heaven, because as you go higher and higher, again, you remove. So the higher you go on that plane to your real existence, that would be heaven. Because the closer you get to your real, say, essence of who you are, and then removing all the filters of space and time, okay, you go there, and then you ascend your essence even closer. So your limitless self, your spirit, actually, say, can ascend to another reality or another possibility that's even grander. It's almost like you can create a whole new universe of your own. And that's what, say, heaven would be, because, well, I've been there. It's quite amazing, by the way. Okay. On the flip side, hell, imagine what you're doing right now forever. Again, and it's not like, oh, you're just going to continue on living life. No, the last few moments of life, or the last aspects of your life that you liked, right? Like, say that, you're riddled with cancer and you die. Okay, you're a good or bad person, it doesn't matter. Um, you know, What you do is like most of those individuals, and some of you see or sense death, they go, "God, I saw Uncle Joe. He had cancer, and now he's like, healthy and vibrant. I saw him. Yeah, that's good. Is it an awakened death? Sure, it's an awakened death. But most of those individuals, again, through like illnesses, severe tragedy, and so on. Well, those things, when you die like that, okay, an awakened tragedy, so to speak, and again, a longer tragedy, not like instant death, because sometimes people get locked. Like just yesterday, I helped somebody um, with an instant death cross over properly, and I can explain. It's like, well, who the hell is this guy? Like, how can he say that? I'll explain the proof there. But slower death, so to speak, those individuals start to get closer and closer to, say, again, their full potential, their limitless self. So they understand. So when they cross over, they'll go to a higher level of understanding of who they are. Right? And then they live from that brilliant self. And that's why you see them, say, awakened, right? Or say vibrant or healthy. Okay? So we talk the deeper understandings on that in the science of death. There's going to be a part two coming up as well. All right, let's take a deep breath in again. People who are, say, in tragic situations and they die instantly like that, basically, again, they don't realize that they're dead, although it's not just random accident. They didn't consciously realize. So they're still connected to a space and time moment. So what happens, again, that they just get locked into that next level without their physical form. And then they go, where the hell am I? What's going on here? And then they try to, say, find themselves. So those last moments of death, again, you exist in. So again, that would be considered, say, a hell, because you never understand where you would be. And is it eternity? Yeah, it could be eternity if nothing or no one, say, awoken you. Simple as that. Okay. So let's take a deep breath in. So out of this concept, you guys, again, do good things, not because you're going to go to heaven or hell, just because it's just humanely right. Right? If you do it as a humanely right thing, the world would be a lot better place. Because if you're doing it because you're afraid, say that you want to be a good person because you're afraid you're going to go to hell, that fear in you will lock you into this reality, right? And again, because you're never going to think, those people who think that way, no matter how much of a goodness that they've done it for the wrong reason. They didn't do it to help that other person help arise. They did it to benefit themselves. And again, that doesn't work like that. Tithing doesn't work like that either, by the way. Okay. Again, those things are, you go, well, those are fuzzy logic shit. No, there's a lot of logic. It's more logic than any, science that you have at these lower realms. Tithing, being good, doing good, being good overall, just to let you know, is how awakened are you, whatever that you're doing. Simple as that. Okay. And you go, well, shit, you could do heinous things and be awakened. No, if you're awakened, your essence, no, it wouldn't do heinous things at all. So that's how people go, well, how can you control people? How can you control the masses? Well, fuck, you awaken them. You awaken them to the point that they go, well, shit, I don't need to control her, and I don't need to abuse her. I don't need to. It'd be self-regulated the way people do now through religions and through science and through all this, right? If it was a valid, say, claim, science, again, scaring the shit out of people so people can take, the vaccines or do whatever or stay in line and all that. Government mechanisms do it. Families does it. Religions does it. How has that worked? That all comes, again, whether it's science or religion, that all comes from not knowing or not understanding how to be good. You awaken people and you're naturally good. You just won't do some of the shit that you do. Okay. And you'll do it for the right reasons, or you won't do it for the right reasons. Get it? So that's how that works. So the real answer to the heaven and hell question, that should be answered pretty good, right? Um, uh, and again, I love this quote. If you're awakened, you wouldn't do heinous things. Absolutely. You just would not do any of those things. You would not be, say, seduced by money, or, abuse women or men or any aspect. You would not, because you would be in rhythm. So awaken, again, is understanding or creating yourself from a higher level filter, rendering yourself in this physical form. If you were that limitless self rendering yourself here physically, would you really need to control? Would you really need to say, have that experience of abuse to figure out that you're here? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't need to control, abuse anything, including animals or the environment or anything like that, or yourself. It just wouldn't work. So, all right. So what can you do? And again, the younger you are, right? The easier it is for you. And why is that so important to understand death for you to experience life? Because every time, so look, when you're young, from 0 to 7, you hold on to your parents' identities, your hereditary patterns, and again, more and more science, just one aspect of this, more and more science are telling that, the 9 months you're in utero, in your mom's belly, that basically conditions how you experience your reality here. Okay. So if your mom was abused and didn't have a good time, or was ill or whatever, during pregnancy, and all her garbage that she should have cleaned out, right? And again, it's not just her, but generations. And, you'll do the same thing to your kids. If you don't awaken, again, if you don't understand death, you'll do the same thing. So it's so I'm not blaming her. You shouldn't blame her, but you should take that responsibility and awaken. So all that stuff is in you, and then you think you are real. You think your reality, according to that environment, is real. Just like getting in an elevator and and you had a fright. It fell 10 stories, whatever, and then you survive. So, and then you go through the rest of your life being afraid of elevators. Simple as that, right? You go through the rest of your life having the filter of whatever your mom went through, and then your environment, obviously, what you grew up, all those filters, saying, "Yep, that's the way it is," because I got abused in utero. I'm gonna been abused here. This environment must be abuse. I must render that for me, and you think it's real. So when you understand death, you're not living from this lowest realm, this lowest filter. Here you start to live higher and higher. And as a young kid, imagine the XI babies. How many of you have had XI babies? Notice how pure and clean they are. They won't take on any of their parents' bullshit, by the way. They're just clean right off the top. That's what I'm talking about. They understand death. And understanding death, okay. So let me just explain that. They don't understand, say, I'm not saying that you, although you do, I'm not saying you understand the process of decay, and rigor mortis and all that stuff. I'm not talking about that stuff. You understand death. You understand about time and space is not real. You understand that your higher self is here. Your limitless self is of time and is not, say, constrained by time and space, or the limitations of time and space. If you understand that, you live pretty fantastically here, because all probabilities, more and more probabilities available here, are available to you. That's why it's so important. So that's what I mean. You live from a higher construct of who you are. You don't live from this reality of, again, abuse and all the bullshit that happens here. So as a young child, understanding that, you start to go, mom's kind of fucked up, and dad's got his shit too. Uh, and you start to see it's like, oh, you know, those are filters. I don't want to run that filter. So you look at your handbook, your default state of who you are, right? Your original state of possibility. When you're a kid, all possibilities are available to you. Have you ever noticed that? And then by the time they're like 7, 8, 9 years old, what happens? It's just like, by the time they're 13, they're just like off the cliff. It's like, because they throw the original handbook of possibilities of what they could do, right? Here, they throw that out and they go, shit, I can't figure this out. I'm just going to go with mom and dad. It's a tragedy for humanity. So, So as a young child, again, you observe what's happening to the parents, and then you actually have, say, regard, not disregard or disrespect to your parents. Because if you're operating from a higher level as a child, you look at your parents and go, wow, mom and dad didn't figure it out. Their life is fucked up. Yeah, their life is fucked up. But as you again separate yourself, separate your identity, okay, what'll happen is like you disconnect from them and you go, oh, okay, this is why mom couldn't figure it out, this is why dad couldn't figure it out, or grandpa or uncle or whoever, or society can't figure it out. I'm going to do it this way. It's going to be a lot easier for me, a lot better for me. And then again, that's where generations get better and better rather than going downwards. So again, that's all about understanding about death. Well, how do you understand death? You understand that you are representing yourself here in space time. The way to do that is spatial referencing. Okay, spatial referencing at its, say, most archaic form, or the simplest form, kindergarten form, is about understanding, say, reference points on where you are. This allows you to understand which filter or which reality that you're creating yourself in. This filter or this filter or this filter, and again, the higher and higher you can go. Okay, so if you understand, say, spatial referencing, you can actually render yourself without all these filters for you. You can render yourself from your higher potential and still represent yourself here. That's why spatial referencing is so important at the highest level. Okay, an overview for the new people. And people have gone off their, say, psychotic medications. Again, severe psychotic, not just one or two, but dozens and dozens, just spatial referencing, just for a few days. Right? Right? There's tons and tons of tests. Some of you have actually had that. Again, type in, write in your experiences on how important. So spatial referencing is not about being present. It's not about being mindful, because that's in you. Spatial referencing, okay, that's old stuff. Spatial referencing is you understanding where you are. Um, it's like your Google Maps, right? It tells you exactly where you are. How does it do it? Well, three points. Global positioning. That's all it is. Spatial referencing is, say, spiritual global positioning. Think of it that way. So for you, what you could do, or for you to initiate that, for you to understand what reality you're creating yourself in, you'll go, oh, the furniture is over there. I'm over here. Right? Something else is over there. I'm over here. So always reference the object around you. Okay, the physical object. The visual objects around you. The ceiling is there. My toe is here, and use a body part if you're new. Right? If you're more advanced, you can use your whole body, but again, that kind of distorts you, because some of you, your bodies aren't in the same reality as they should be. They're not all homogeneous. So again, use a body part. And again, people, scientists and people will go, oh, it's not going to work out. Give it a fucking try. Before you go, it's not going to work out. Okay. People said that to, I don't know, the Wright brothers and stuff. It's not going to work out. Well, nobody's ever tried it. So again, give it a try and see what happens. Spatial reference, especially if you're depressed, anxious, on medication, to be, on your happy pills, give it a try and you'll see that it actually works out. Okay. All right. We do this on the 18 days, by the way, on the 18-day hyper meditations, which we're doing now. Again, transformations in 18 days. Next month, the elevation, which is really a good starter course for those who are new to exponential intelligence and the concepts of exponential intelligence. It's you meditate with me one day a week, Mondays, 9:30 p.m. I believe. Yeah, um, yeah, Mondays, 9:30 p.m. It's just once a week for 4 weeks, and it'll get you situated. It'll get you started. It'll get you, say, understanding the concepts of XI, because they are very different than any self-improvement psychology or anything that's out there. Even brain entrainment, and even like government, things that they do to create superhumans. Those pale compared to what we do here, by the way, especially at the higher levels. So to try that, and if you've been here before, and you've got a lot of momentum going on, Okay, that's another reason why you might want to do the elevation. So if you're new, getting your feet wet into the frequencies of XI, if you've been here before, it allows you to get that momentum going, and it allows you to say keep that momentum on your own, because every Monday it just gives you that constant push for you. But then on the rest of the days, on the rest of the time, well, you're on your own, so you can create that momentum, so you can figure out how to do this on your own. All right. Before we go into analyzing individuals, just to show you the possibilities and how fast people can transform, I'll analyze you, um, and I'll tell you what that means in just a second. We've got the Sedona crystal event. Okay, the physics of advanced consciousness. It allows us to go to higher realms. Again, those filters, right? Beyond this time and space, another time and space. So you access the higher realms. Some of you go, well, that sounds like alien. Well, there's higher consciousness, higher intelligence that's out there. So it literally does explain how aliens work. So if you are scientists and understand, because more and more people are going, well, governments are releasing, alien type stuff. Yes. So it explains the science behind aliens. So it's not just woo woo stuff, just like I explained science behind death, not woo woo stuff. And again, the science of death is a podcast you can listen to. So that's coming up September 17th through the 19th. I believe it's all booked, the live event, but you can join online. So take a look at that. Last time we did that, it was really unbelievable. And then addiction recovery, guys, huge undertaking on our part. The last time we did something like this, it was abuse recovery. People who've been, people who have gone to, I don't know how many clinics and, therapists and so on, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, they were out of their abuse patterns. Okay. And I've helped so many people even recover from the hard drugs, heroin and all that. Again, I'm not claiming anything. I'm just telling you that I can help you awaken, and then you can, reclaim your life. So the addiction recovery starts the 13th. If you are addicted, or if you have a loved one that that addicted, you can sit into these series, and it'll help your loved one. And then also, if you're an enabler, or if you're always attracting people who are abusive, and addicted, it'll be good for you as well. Brilliant minds tonight. We're going to tap into the consciousness of Leonardo da Vinci, and the logistics on how he thought and where he got all his ideas. So, and again, helping you get into that plane or into that consciousness, so you can think. And it's great for business people, so they can understand, say, well, where inventions or concepts or ideas come from. By the way, it is an advanced class. It's a level 3 and 4 class. So if you're new to that, and you want to jump in, that's totally fine, which is great. But you would have to do the 3 meditations, and you've got time. You would have to do the 3 meditations to give you a strong foundation. Otherwise, I'll take you into those realms, and you wouldn't have, say, the stability or the rudder or the wings or whatever to float on your own there. So again, highly, highly important. If you haven't done that, I would suggest doing it later than not live tonight. So 3 meditations, go through the process, take a couple hours in between, because you will get, say, disoriented or distorted. Right? It's not just meditations. So again, it's a reprogram, a rewiring of how you render yourself here. Right? And then answering pain is weakness, leaving the body. So comment in and your thoughts. It's on Facebook, I believe, and Instagram. You can comment in. I'm going to be live on Wednesday, August 26th at 9 a.m. Central. And I'll explain Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so again, comment in. Comment in, and we'll explain the real definition on pain leaving the body. And because religions use it, the Marines use it. It was on some young man's shirt that pain is leaving the body, and I'm going, shit, he's really stuck in a lot of pain and burdens, a lot of people. So again, breaking that myth apart and in giving you more clarity. If you have any, say, questions that you want me to answer, things like of that nature, again, comment in on YouTube and Facebook as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. This is where I analyze you. By the way, I have to read this. This disclaimer. This is Masati with Exponential Intelligence. Sunday, I think August 22nd, 2021. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose or heal. I can scan your frequency signature and tell you what I see. So please consult your doctor for professional advice. If I tell you, I see something health-wise or psychological or even financial. If you ask to be scanned today, you're agreeing that we may use your session on any public media to help inspire others. So remember, if you don't want us to share your session, then don't ask to be scanned. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. All contents are protected by copyright. You may not use any of our content in any way, shape, or form for any purpose without my written permission.
Can I speak to you for a second? Pause.
Yeah, just 1 second, guys. Oh. What? All right, guys. Can you guys hear me now still? Yami, can you hear me still? So, okay. So I just heard from Fefe that uh, our registration process, guys, is down. It's a third party issue that we've got going. So nobody can register for any of our things. So we'll get back to you, or just keep checking. Okay. If you want to register for some of those things. Sorry about that, guys. Again, we just have to wait. All right. So, yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. And again, guys, just ask once, okay? This is Mini G. Hi, Mouse. There's a lot of pressure in my country to get vaccinated, and I'm not interested. Or the old technology, Chinese vaccine safe. Again, I'm not against any vaccines. Vaccines. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, anything like that. But it's nature's process. So back. It's nature's process to help you. Again, vaccinations, the old way. So vaccines back in the day, either like the dead virus, so your body can acclimate and create, antigens, antibodies against it, or a weaker form. And that's like when society spreads diseases, it's a weaker form of that virus, and then people get elevated by that. So again, in those situations, again, it's nature's process. Vaccines the old way. In today's vaccines, they've got shit mercury, and they've got, like, I don't know, whole list of poisons that fuck you up. In fact, my one of my sons almost died because of a vaccine. So, and I'm wondering, it's like, well, why would you put that shit there? And today's vaccines, they're not even vaccines. They don't help you produce antigens. And again, it's not me saying it. You can go to the pharmaceuticals website, and it says that. Literally, it's like it's something that changes your mRNA. That's why it's called an mRNA. It changes the communication. So, kind of creating you know what like a GMO human, because anyway, you can take a look at all that information on, say, the vaccination talk. Gives you the science behind vaccine. So in those situations, again, you want to make sure what's in the vaccine is pure for you. Okay, so, and that's all up to you. So this is a good topic. By the way, friends, Moss has already started working on you when you decided to join this YouTube talk. Yeah, so whether you're listening to this live or, live or as a replay, yes, I have started working on it. Spatial referencing helped my brother come out of depression. It is powerful, guys. And what I just said is very, say, very, beginning. At the higher levels, you start to master your space, and that's what brilliant minds is about. How people think like Elon Musk. We're going to get into the higher levels of states of consciousness through the brilliant mind. That's what it's about through spatial referencing, and also it's the fastest way to say materialize goal set. So spatial goal setting, as I call it, which should be coming out later next year for those business people. I used to be so mental and out of my body, I couldn't even spatial reference properly. What helped, and still helps me, is do really physical, tactical things. For example, shower massage, yes. So again, that's all spatial referencing. So when you're doing those things, be in your body. Please scan the sudden death in my family. Aunt, female at 15 in 2010, drugs, and sister, male. Oh, please scan the sudden deaths in my family. Aunt, 15, 2010, drugs, sister to make, 37, 2017, fell from heights. Yeah, so is it Graymar? Graymar. So for you, it's almost like a curse. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5 generations from what I'm seeing. Somebody actually did say put a curse on your family. It's about somebody's marriage, or somebody got married that somebody didn't like, and they didn't say listen. So there was a person that was kind of crazy, a little mentally unstable. Let's just say not little, a lot mentally unstable, who could, well, had abilities, but again, kind of like witchcraft or that kind of feel, and that shit's real. Um, and again, I can explain the science behind it, not here. So again, just for lay people, okay. And again, there's a science behind it that gives you the logic behind that, on how that works. So say that family basically is cursed, and from that on, nobody could ever be happy. So that's why there's always that drain, although you're walking away from it. So I would suggest a longer session for you, by the way, because you're about to say disconnect from that pattern. So if you look at your life, happiness and joy, especially marriage, is associated with, say, a death in proximity. So that's the pattern. You go, oh, that's a curse, and yeah, it's a curse, but it's a hereditary pattern. People who have, I was working on this lady. She had like, she was ashamed to admit it, but there's no judgment on my part. But it's like she had two, she had to go, well, you've lost two kids through abortions. Again, no, 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 and finally she goes, okay, yeah, I had two abortions. It's like, okay, I tap in. It's like, oh, your mom had a few abortions, and your grandma had a few abortions. So again, even those things, guys, are in your, say, pattern. So in this situation, it's turned into, say, your pattern, your hereditary pattern. It's in your genome now, that it's conditioned that any joyous experience is followed, 1, 2, 3, like 2, 3 months after, by like a threatening experience or a life threatening or something to that effect. So people get married. You'll see in your aunt situation, and then whoever fell from a height, somebody in your family got married 2 to 4 months later. Somebody died. So that's the pattern that you guys run. I can help you disconnect from that. After that, spatial referencing is instantly. You would love a scan, please. This is FP conscious. By the way, my abilities work. It's kind of like I don't need your name. I don't need your photo. I don't need your age or anything like that. How do I do it? Well, it's pretty simple. I tap into the presence or essence. Even if you're texting, even if you're not using your real name, it doesn't matter to me. Your presence, the underlying, say, address of who you are, your frequency signature, I can tap into, I can read. Simple as that. Okay. So for you, FP consciousness, you are starting to, say, separate yourself into 3 realities. It's not like you're starting to, you're just becoming aware that you're separating yourself, or you have basically 3 realities. if that makes sense to you. So what that means would be that you see things from 3 points of view. You feel split or you feel torn. You might have, say, three relationships all at once, if that makes sense to you, or a desire for three relationships or three things or whatever. Again, because each reality is a life of yours. So each life has to exist. Okay. And if you don't, say, there's something about, say, having multiple partners for you. If you don't have a partner in this life, it's like you'll start dying. And the reason why you need partners, for example, is that because it keeps you, say, contained. But then over time, that partner is not good enough because, again, it's not the solution. It's not the end all solution. So again, you might cheat, or they might think that you are cheating. So whatever way that kind of pattern happened. And by the way, if I analyze you, comment in on the accuracy. I know I'm accurate, doesn't matter, but it's better for you to understand. It's like, well, shit, how did Moss do that, right? So with you, it's nothing new. Now you're realizing that you're in three realities. Again, probably through the XI work, and now we can, say, push you into, say, one reality, which is really cool. Just that state of oneness, and I can get you into that state. Yeah. So right now, I'm helping you define yourself more, so you can again push yourself into that state. Thanks for all. Please scan my son, Catherine Keys. Um, your son feels a little younger to me, although again he might be older. I see like around 14, 15. And what's happening for you, Catherine, is again, you probably used to be that really over worried mom or suffocating mom. So your son feels a little like really feminine, or again, he's afraid of males for some reason, a masculine. Could be his father or somebody else, or is he sensitive? He's sensitive too, so he senses presences around him. So again, afraid of that male. So he kind of, and again, you probably overprotected him, and now you're stepping back. So he might get a little unstable for a little bit, but it's actually a good place for him because as you pull away from him, he becomes more and more stabilized on his own. So for him, I would suggest doing the 18 days, bringing him into the meditation. I'll work on him just a little bit to, say, understand, so he has a sure footing, right? Because he basically, in the past, basically or the way he's been raised is that you've raised him to always become, say, dependent on somebody else, so he can't stabilize on his own. So he feels, a little, say, incomplete unless he's with somebody, which is really not that great because he'll connect with people that'll start to use and abuse him. Okay? So, but the good thing is, again, he's starting to awaken to the fact that it's like, hey, I can stabilize on my own. So what I was doing for him is again helping him stabilize on his own easier. This one, empowerment holistics. Hi, Moss. My 7-year-old is lying, cheating, stealing a lot. Please scan him. Thanks. Sure. Again, just analyzing him. 1, 2, 3. Actually, it's not your 7-year-old. Yeah, it's like a 14-year-old child that died in the neighborhood that's basically consuming him. And again, that sounds crazy, but say, and I would suggest a session. Uh, the bottom line is what's important. Even if you don't believe whatever happened, it's okay. The bottom line is important too. So again, like, say, when I remove somebody that's died on you, right? You feel that expansive state. Your life radically changes, right? You awaken, or turn it into an awakened death, and again, your life. So that's the proof. That's the bottom line. For you, I can remove that 14-year-old, basically that 14-year-old. So for you, your son, 7 years old, he would have he'd be really smart. He'd be really street smart. He would know a lot of stuff that's like, how the hell does a 7-year-old know? And you go, wow, it's TV and all that stuff. Not necessarily. Again, consciousness here. And this is, again, not death awakened. The 14-year-old dies. He just hangs out. He doesn't know where to go. and he's your son's an open vessel, right? He's here. He's at your son's an open vessel, wanting because your son wants to define himself because again, you and the father lost, so to speak, or kind of like feeling like there's a separation, or yeah, that sense of separation, or the verge of separation. That kind of feel. The kid doesn't know what to do. Again, becomes an open vessel. The person up there, right, dead, goes, oh shit, he's awakened to the fact that he's dead, basically. And it's like, wow, I can melt in with somebody. He jumps in. So and it started when he was 3 or 4. Yeah. When you, the mother, was scared of something. um, So, and then over time, basically that consciousness, and again, so basically what that means, again, it's not, is it a ghost? Sure, you could say it's a ghost that took over. Science wise, is that consciousness that died up here, your son opened up to it and connected to it. So now it's represent that consciousness of death should be up here. It's representing itself in your son. Okay, so that's the science of it. So your son's energy is supporting too. So it takes over. So again, for your experience, a lot of intelligence, a lot of street smart, a lot of whatever for a 14-year-old, and go. So that's your son. So helping him say distinguish him and this 14-year-old. 14-year-old basically pushes him into things, as a dare, basically. So again, it's not your son. Basically, your son gets pushed into doing things. And if you observe your son, you'll go, that's not my son. And you'll see that more and more after this session. So I'm pulling out that presence, and you'll see it's like, oh my God, this 14-year-old kid. Yeah. I can't pull it out completely. I can just separate it for you. And again, that's why I suggest a longer session. The reason why is like, if he's been in your son, since 3 or 4, it's most of his life, right? So if I pull that out, your son would have no identity. Sometimes I've done this before, okay? And it's interesting for me to see. It's not so fun for the person. So um, say that your son learned, walking, okay, although they do it earlier, but just for example, son walking at 3, okay, and that identity was in him. I pulled that identity out. Your son would have to relearn how to walk. So whatever he's learned from 3 on, basically most of it is this 14-year-old, not your son. Get it? So he just literally go back to a 3-year-old. So you don't want to do that. You want to start to separate him a bit more, and then he pulls over all, say, the data files of whatever he's learned in that 14-year-old identity, pull it into him so he doesn't lose any of it, and then you can delete that consciousness from him. Okay? What is the Sedona event? That is the crystal event in Sedona, accessing like higher levels of consciousness. Okay? Special referencing and dialogue in your head. Should we say things out loud? No, not at all. I don't know where you got that. Again, the object, a body part. That chair is over there. I'm over here. You don't have to say anything out loud. Again, just observe. You can say it out loud. That chair is over there. My left arm is here. So it's a comparison. It's reference points on, say, distance or proximity. Simple as that. Nothing in your head, especially for you, hon, because you go into other aspects of you. You almost get lost. You have an aunt in you, by the way. You're very similar to your aunt, whoever asked that. Please scan me. This is Arlene Soteros. So Arlene, for you, yeah. So for you, you are leaving your old identity. You know how you never really, especially when you were 20s or 30s, something happened like where life stopped for you. Yeah. I don't know if you got connected with somebody or somebody basically took over your life, kind of like a marriage or you got something happened, something to that effect. And it's like, shit, your life just stopped. So although you're older, you feel older, or your life's moved on, you're still haven't had the experience of your current age, and that's the point. So what you're doing now, and again, congratulations, it's like, oh, hey, wait a second, I didn't live all those years. Again, through whatever you're doing with XI, it's like I'm going to go start living, all those years. So again, you're coming into a state where you're going to take back your life. So initially, where you're at is you're going to start pushing people away and go, hey, you can't control me anymore. You can't do this and this. Again, it's not necessarily them. So what you want to do in that case, Arlene, is to go, well, what is it in me that's allowing that to happen? What pattern or programming algorithm is in me that's allowing people to tell me what to do and control me and so on like that? And again, I can clean your childhood up really quick as I explain this. By the way, if I'm working on, say, one person, I'm working on you if you have of similar issues. So again, when you ask that, you start deleting or confirming the deletions of those patterns, and you become really strong. And then this is where you would get a second chance in life. So this is Samuel Guay, Guay. Hi, Masai. Can you scan me? Can you? Yeah. Can you? Yeah. So Samuel, uh, it seems like there's a female frequency. Again, it could be your father, for example. It's always been telling you what to do. So no matter what you do, even if you're not with anybody, you're still seeing your life. Like, say, what would mom do in this situation? So it's almost like if somebody's been just over you, controlling you all the time, right? All the time. And then they leave, their voice is still in your head. So it's like your mom's voice, or again, it could be your father's if he was feminine, which I kind of think he is. That just like hounds you and controls you. So again, the voice in your head is not your voice. It's whoever controls you in the past. So from whatever that you've done, you can actually say separate that, and then you reclaim your life. Okay. Gloria, what is shedding when haven't taken the vaccine? So shedding, and again, scientists go, well, shedding is bullshit. It doesn't really work. Shedding happens all the time. It's and I talk about it on the explanations on the vaccine. So again, whether you're with or for, it is the logistics of how shedding works. Shedding is basically, some of the effects from a vaccine. Okay, people get affected who are non-vaccinated. So whatever's happening to the vaccinated person, it sheds off into the person. It's like, well, that can't happen. Happens all the time. The deeper forms of that are, say, medical students who read about germs, viruses, diseases, and so on, and they start eliciting the symptoms of those diseases. Well, that would be a form of shedding, by the way, right? Because your body is so powerful, you'll start to, say, pick up on whatever consciousness or whatever experience that, say, other people might have. That's where shedding comes from. So does it happen to all? No, it happens to most people who are always reflectors. So they're always like, oh, that person is thinking XYZ about me. So you're not only just thinking or picking up whatever they're thinking about you so you can conform to them like this person, you're basically picking up what they're sending out or what they're thinking, what their presence is. Another form of shedding is, women that get together, their menstrual cycles like sync together, right? You walk into a room, the room is angry, you get angry. Those are all forms of shedding. And the reason why shedding, do all medications do that? Well, it depends. But in this case, especially because the communication, the mRNA, right? The communication between your DNA and your cells, well, that gets fucked up through the vaccines. So it's sending off frequencies that humans aren't used to. So that's the point. And that's why shedding occurs in this scenario. Okay. So again, not all medications and so on like shed, but if it's messing up your communication system on how it interacts with other humans in the reality, you'll get that if you're connected. Just one last scan, guys. Can I get a scan, please, Moss? I would love to see where I am right now. So it's a good place to add. And Yvette, so Yvette, you really created your own space. So congratulations, you really created your own space. You're coming into your form. You're not allowing, say, in the previous life, people would just tell you what to do, and you wouldn't even like it. but you just go do it anyway. And then you'd lose your life. And then, it's like, shit, I got to break away. And then you can't break away. So you'd get stuck into relationships and so on like that. That should have ended like, decades ago, for example. But now it's like, no way. So you've cleaned up really well. You've disconnected all those people and things and situations, belief systems. And sometimes it seems like you're ashamed. It's like, damn, how did I ever get myself into this? So again, shame back in the day would have controlled you, right? And would have sucked you into situations. This is where, again, shame, guilt, I don't know, all those things that are negative emotions, which is bullshit, all those things are going to be used to power you to go forward. So now you're going to be shameful. Okay? And this is how using shame the proper way. You're going to be shameful on going, how the hell did I ever let myself get stuck in those situations, right? I bet. And you're going to go, I'm not going to let that happen again. So you're going to use shame, guilt, and fear, indecision to go, shit, I better go the right way. So you go, well, indecision, how does that work? Well, you start to see it's like, so damn, I'm so indecisive. I can't choose. Again, because you've always waited for other people to tell you what to do. It's like, I better make a choice. So you start making a choice. Even if it's wrong, it's okay that you made a choice. Kind of like, when your phone goes, just start walking. If you're using the directions on one, it says just start walking, and it picks up which direction you're going, and go, oh, you're going the wrong way, turn around. So that's where you use, again, indecision. Make any decision, by the way, make any decision as long as you're going forward or backwards or sideways. It doesn't matter, but you can't just like wait anymore. So and I'm pushing you into a decision. So do it, go for it. And then you go, oh shit, wrong decision. Oh, okay, now I'm here. I should be over here now. So it gives you a reference point. Simple as that. Okay. So really nice job. All right, guys. Again, a lot of good stuff tomorrow. Next time around in Moss on Sundays, with the relationship between science and religion. A lot of good things coming up. Unfortunately, we can't sign up for it, so just keep checking the website, mossajada.com, and then we'll figure that out. Pain is weakness leaving the body. I'll answer that Wednesday live, right before the 18-day meditations. All right, guys. As always, notice what you notice and notice those details. Anything else, Feifei? Oh, just one more thing.
We're rescheduling Brilliant Minds to Thursday.
Oh, okay. As a note, guys, we're going to be rescheduling Brilliant Minds to Thursday. Um, we're getting a lot of customer response saying wanting to connect with that. So again, which is really good, because those people who are now hearing and understanding what Brilliant Mind is about, you have till Thursday to listen to those 3 meditations. All right, guys. So again, peace. Notice what you notice and notice those details. All right. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you.